He started as a volunteer on the Denton Rodeo scene in 1985. Now he's the executive director of the North Texas Fair and Rodeo, and the 98th annual kicks off August 21st. Today I'm sitting down with Glenn Carlton. Denton's got it all: the food, the music, the art, and of course the people. And behind every corner there's a story worth sharing. And that's what this podcast is all about. Denton's best, one conversation at a time. I'm Brad, and this is If You Didn't Know, Now You Know. Welcome back to another episode of If You Didn't Know. I'm sitting down with Glenn Carlton today, Executive Director of North Texas Fair and Rodeo. Really glad to have you today, Glenn.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're busy, really busy leading up to this year's Fair and Rodeo, so appreciate you carving out a little time for me and just telling us more about what you've been doing. And I know you've been at it for, nearly 4 decades, but it's almost a 100-year-old tradition at this point.
Yeah,
right?
this is our 98th, so 2 years we'll be celebrating our 100th.
That'll be big.
And I run into people around town now, and they go, "Oh, you must be getting ready for the fair." Well, I don't ever stop getting ready for the fair.
You're always, that's a
it's
year-round.
It's a full-time job for myself and my staff. I mean, it really is. It's year-round.
I'm sure it is. Well, we're going to dive into it and excited to hear about some of the things that you've got planned for this year's fair. But want to get to know Glenn first a little bit more, and so kind of where you grew up and kind of even how you got into this path at all. So where are you from?
Well, I was born and raised in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
My parents were both southeastern Oklahoma. Okay. The Kiamishi Mountains. Tuskahoma is actually where they went to school and grew up. Okay. They moved to Oregon as a young couple and raised their family there.
It's a beautiful area.
I spent a lot of summers back in southeastern Oklahoma, with Grandpa and uncles on the ranch. Mm-hmm. And I remember as a teenager telling my family that I'm going back.
That's where I belong. Yeah,
that's where I belong. That's home. And so I didn't quite make it back to the Kiamishis, but I got 30 miles away from the Oklahoma border. So.
Yeah. Well, so in Eugene, did you do farming, ranching, or anything?
I did. We lived in town most of that time, but I always worked on area ranches and farming. So I was always around hay harvest, silage harvest, working cattle. Worked at the local sale barn, So it's been, and I'm a 4th generation cattleman. As far as I know, it goes back to my great grandpa. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, we need to have my brother Brian in here to sit down. He would speak your language a little better than I do, probably. I kind of grew up a little bit around it, but not like that. So what drew you actually to Denton then originally? Or?
Well, and when I used to rodeo, I used to ride bulls.
Okay.
And I had a sponsor when I was riding bulls, a beer company, and I was kind of wanting to get back here, and so they got me a job with a beer distributor in Dallas.
Okay.
And I actually thought I was going to be a promoter for them, and go work these events and stuff like that. Well, with a surprise, they handed me a 2-liter dolly and put me on a beer truck. So, but I didn't quit them. I worked my way up, got into sales, which led me to Denton. I was actually awarded Denton as a sales territory, and that's where I found the fair.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. But you kind of had that itch of doing kind of some promotion type work from the beginning, almost, huh?
Yeah, I've kind of been a natural born salesman. Yeah. I was always able to sell. As a young guy, I used to have a Christmas tree lot and, kind of entrepreneurial spirit. And I think that mixed with agriculture makes it a perfect fit. So.
Sure, of course. So you were slinging beer around or distributing it at least, and then is that when you got connected with the North Texas Fair?
I did. I actually started out as talked the beer company into being a sponsor with Pearl Light was one of the brands that I sold. Pearl and Pearl Light, and we sponsored the Old Time Fiddlers contest.
Okay.
That was on the center stage, which is a much bigger stage now.
Yeah.
But that was the first taste. It wasn't long after that Dickie Fisher at Miller of Denton recruited me to come work for them. Okay. And so I took that same relationship, and then the very next year it was the Miller Light Old Time Fiddlers contest at the fair. So and Miller of Denton and Fisher 59 have been a sponsor ever since then.
Yeah.
And so
big sponsor, a long time sponsor. So did you begin kind of volunteering for for the association at that point?
I did. I latched on with Weldon Burgoon in the rodeo committee.
Okay.
Weldon was running the rodeo at that time. It was just, I probably took about a year off, in the beer business from my lifestyle of ranching and rodeo. I was away from it, and it was an opportunity for me to reattach myself to my roots and be around rodeo again. And so, one thing led to another, and I was fortunate enough to get on Weldon's committee.
Okay. Well, back to the rodeo. What was your event? What did you like to do?
I rode bulls.
Oh, you rode bulls.
Specialized.
Okay.
I rode bulls the longest. I did about everything in high school. But
All right.
Later on, I just stuck to the bulls. Yeah.
Well, we'll tease ahead a little bit. I know we're going to talk about Cody Johnson, and he was
Yeah.
a bull rider, so y'all had a lot in common probably from the beginning. But we'll come back to that story. I'm anxious to hear it. But what were those early days like, kind of working with Weldon and at the North Texas Fair and Rodeo?
It was, we all worked full-time jobs, and then we'd go out there and and work the rodeo performance that night, and you'd get home at midnight, and and then you're back up the next day. So it was strenuous, especially I had a young family and a new wife, and it wasn't easy. But the fair was like 5 days then. I think we went Thursday through Sunday. But I remember the grounds, the area where the main stage is now, and the concession stands was gravel. The exhibit building, it wasn't air conditioned. We had about half the livestock barns that are there now. We've come a long way. So.
Now, for those that don't know, and I might be one of them, is that city property or county property?
No, it's privately owned by our nonprofit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the North
okay.
Texas State Fair Association. It's a 501c3,
and have owned it for decades.
Actually, the land was. We purchased the land in 1946 from Dr. Kimbrough for $5.
I see.
So it was basically a gift.
Yeah.
But on the deed, it was a purchase.
Yeah.
So we've had it since then.
He was very generous. I know he did something in Crom as well, and he's done several things where he'd given back to the community in different ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually inducted him into our Hall of Fame last year. We started our Hall of Fame and had our first 4 inductees, and he was one of those inductees.
Very cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that history. That's really neat. So but over the years, obviously, you've made a lot of improvements to kind of what you're describing to the fairgrounds and kind of what amenities are there. Haven't improved those bathrooms too much though.
Well, we've added a lot because our crowds grew, and we had to add to them. And we put new paint on them every year, and we do what we can, but. Yeah,
they get the job done.
They get the job done, and and we're going to talk about it later. When you're thinking, well, we're going to move to a new facility one of these days.
How much do you want to invest?
Yeah, how much do you want to invest?
Yeah.
But we do want them clean and comfortable as best we can. We have added a number of restrooms to handle our crowds.
Yeah. Well, I bet working with Weldon was a treat, and I mean, I know he's just a Denton legend and had his saddle shop there on East Hickory. And what was it like working with Weldon?
Oh, it was great. I mean, the whole committee just loved him, and you just the one thing I remember about Weldon is he always greeted everybody with a handshake and a smile. He didn't, you just felt like his friend.
You did, yeah. I didn't really know him, but I the few times I interacted with him, it's like he seems like he knows me. I know. I don't think he did, but he just acted that way.
Yeah, that was him.
That's special. Yeah. Well, so it's changed a lot since then. You've got a little more staff now than probably they did in those early days. But what does your staffing look like for the association?
Well, there's 3 full-time.
Okay.
We've got a part-time in maintenance, and then I've got myself, my assistant, Allison Hobbold, and then our media and marketing manager is Hannah Figg. Okay. And both of those, they're both full-time, and both do a great job. So when
did you move from volunteer and out of beer distribution into this position?
Well, it kind of evolved like this. I think about '89 was when Weldon stepped away, and I became the chairman of the rodeo committee. I think I was asked to serve on the board of directors starting in 1990. Stayed on the board of directors as a vice president up until I was hired in 2005. So I went from volunteer to employee in 2005.
Okay. So nearly 20 years now doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I know you've seen a lot, through your years. Do you have a favorite kind of memory of what you've experienced over the years out there?
Well, yeah, you brought up Cody Johnson.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of my favorite memories, and it's a great story. I first hired Cody to play a fundraiser for a friend of mine that was running for constable.
Yeah.
And he cost $1,000.
Okay.
And we were thinking, oh, well, that's a lot of money for, what if nobody comes and we're going to lose $1,000.
Where's Cody from?
Cody's from Huntsville.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, we hired Cody, and the first thing he did was stick out his hand and say, man, I ride bulls. He knew I raised bulls. I raised bucking bulls. And he says, hey, I'm a bull rider. He goes, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick to the music. And so actually brought him to the fair and put him on the support stage at the back. And we did that for a couple of years. And the second year, I mean, he had a crowd back there. He held probably 1,000 people.
Is that right?
And we were still selling hot dogs and food and beer, and I could just it was like a slot machine.
Cash
and
ready
so I
for
thought,
ringing.
man, this kid needs a bonus.
Yeah.
So I gathered up 3 or 4 executive board members, and they agreed. Let's give him a little bonus. So I went to accounting, and I got $500 cash.
Okay.
Put it in an envelope, put his and Brandy's name on it, his wife. Took it down and handed it to Brandy. I said, hey, this is for you and Cody. This is not for the band. This is not for, to go pay it. This is for you guys.
What year was this?
It was probably 2012, 13.
Okay.
Somewhere
So,
right
yeah.
in there. And so the next morning, Cody's texting me saying, you didn't have to do that, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So he started to take off after that.
Right.
And the next year, I put him on the main stage, which was a promotion. Still not a great night. He got Wednesday night.
Uh-huh.
But he texted me and said, hey, I'm here. And so I went up there. He was sound checking. He was tuning the guitar. And I went up there and shook his hand, gave him a hug. And he goes, he don't have any idea what that $500 meant. He said, we were getting ready to quit.
Oh, man.
He goes, look at me now. I got a bus,
Oh, my
And so, and anyway, one of the girls was just a baby. I went in the bus, and they were giving the baby a bottle. So after that, we tried to get him back. I mean, he really just took off.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, we put an offer out there, which we knew was way less than what he was making, but it was all we could afford with the size of the fairgrounds.
Right.
We are limited.
Right.
So we put an offer out there, and Howie, his manager, he didn't want to take it, but Cody talked him into it.
Okay.
So they came and played a Thursday night show for us.
Yeah.
We had 6,000 people in front of that stage.
Oh, wow.
I mean, beer did great, food did great, rye, everything. It was a phenomenal night. Cody steps off the stage, sticks out his ear, points at me, and goes, "Hey, buddy, we're even." I said, "Yeah, we're even."
Don't call me again with that low ball offer. Yeah.
We're good.
Wow. What a story. That's really, really cool. And so
when I see him today, he still says, "I'll never forget what you did. I'll never forget it."
Well,
so.
for him to tell you that he was just right on the verge of saying, maybe I can't do this full time,
Yeah.
and that make that kind of difference.
Yeah.
Wow, I bet he doesn't forget that. What a neat story. Wow, I want to just talk more of those kind of stories, but that's really cool. Well, and you've got a lot of support, obviously volunteers
Yes.
and community support to help pull this off. What does that look like?
Well, it's volunteer based. We've got over 800 volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be a member of the Fair Association to be a volunteer, but we've got 641 paid members. I think that's a record.
Wow.
And that's all part of it. There's 40 different committees, and those committees all have a chairman or co-chairman of those committees, and so they run those areas. I don't run them.
Yeah.
I get involved if I'm asked or if I have to, but most of the time it's still a community event, and those 800 people and those 40 chairmen, they put the event on.
And they take that job serious, right?
Oh, they do.
I remember Lane Brewer working with him back in my banking days, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he was the chairman or he was just involved in whatever. What's the committee? Probably finance.
Yeah, he was over Gates.
Yeah, Gates. So we would run around. He wrote me in to help it.
Yeah.
And we'd run around collecting cash and taking.
Lane's a good hand. He's still on my board and still helping. Yeah. He retired from banking, and he actually bought a house in Colorado, and so he spent a couple of summers up there. It took like 5 people to replace him. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you do all that? So
Let's get Lane back down here. Yeah. Wow. Well, I no doubt to put on what you do out there for that 10 days, it takes a lot of people. And like you say, it's not just those 10 days, a lot of work leading up to it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So that's really special that you got that many people that bought into it over the years that are ready to.
Yeah, I mean they're getting ready. We're getting ready right now. We got the workhorse committee, which those are the guys that they do electrical. They do a lot of the high stuff. Just construction type stuff.
Yeah.
They've been out there for a month on the weekends already. Our flag girls, our fairgrounders, they've been coming every Tuesday night for the last month, getting their routine down and getting their new members used to it. And a lot of committees are already meeting, and actually when we're getting the grounds ready, tents are already up.
Yeah.
Temporary bleachers come Monday, they start going up. So.
This episode is going to drop on August, I think 14th, but we are at the end of July. So just as a point of reference, we're about 2 weeks talking 2 weeks before this thing drops. But yeah, you're starting way out in advance, right?
Yes,
you have to. And I know a lot of these. Well, I don't know for sure. I would imagine a lot of these volunteers. Now you're seeing their kids or their grandkids from the volunteers you've had over the decades kind of get involved, right?
Yeah, it's very generational. A lot of families, it just stays in it, And I think that's one of the things that's so special about it is that it is, and then out of those 800 people, it's a reunion for them.
Yeah.
It's one time a year that they see those faces again.
That's right.
And it's a great community event. It's so much fun for our volunteers.
Well, so if somebody's listening and they want to get involved in either as a volunteer or in just be a part of the association, what's the best way to kind of get involved?
2 ways. I mean, there's 40 board chair or not board chairs, but committee chairs out there.
Right.
So if you know any of those people, just let them know, and they'll get you in, put you to work. Or you can go on our website, ntfair.com, and there's a button that says Get Involved that leads you to a volunteer submission page. So.
Yeah. Well, so what's been some of maybe the hardest parts of the job or the hardest lessons you've learned over these 40 years being involved over there?
Probably is to, don't ever expect that you're going to be successful every year.
Yeah.
We had some great years. We had a really good run from 2010 through 2015. 2016, we had 7 out of 9 days of rain.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that killed the event.
Sure.
And it kills you financially. And of course, we from time to time we'll buy rain insurance. That year, I happened to buy rain insurance, but when you buy rain insurance, you buy it for a certain amount of time. The more time you buy it for, if you add an hour on the end or hour on the beginning, the more it costs,
more expensive,
or the less amount of rain. So if you say I'm going to do a half inch from 6 to 10, which is probably about what I did.
It gets dialed in that specific?
It gets dialed in that specific.
Wow.
The insurance companies are really good at it. They're better than we are. And so that particular year, 7 out of the 9 days it rained. And, of course, I had board members saying, well, you had it insured, didn't you? And I said, yeah, our insurance kicked in at 7 o'clock. It stopped raining at 6 every day. But it was enough to keep people away.
Right.
So, and then after 16, it took a while. We didn't have our momentum back, because when you have a bad year like that, you lose momentum.
Yeah.
And then COVID.
Right.
COVID came, and that was really tough. We did put the event on. We postponed. State Fair of Texas canceled. So we jumped into their dates. We moved from August to October.
Yeah.
And we got it done by the hair of our chinny chin chin.
Yeah.
And the governor's executive orders hit just right on timing. The governor, at that point, the executive orders allowed mayors to grant permission for events to happen. We had rules. We had to follow 50% attendance.
Right.
50% in the rodeo arena, stuff like that. But we had the event.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing we did. It was financially successful. It wasn't a home run.
Yeah.
But it was a base hit.
Yeah.
And then 2021, when things came back, record year. 22 record year.
Nice.
So anyway,
Nice.
I think
I bet
going through some tough years, that's what humbles you.
Yeah, no doubt. So I bet having it in October that year though was pretty nice weather-wise, right? I mean, compared to
there's
August,
a lot of people that say, "Hey, we want to move to October all the time." The state fair doesn't cancel every year. It's
you can't really compete with that.
But the second weekend that year, it got really cold. I mean, I called the house and told my wife, I said, "Man, you got to bring my big coat. I got to have the ranch coat."
Yeah.
So
what do you want? It's never going to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about kind of what the fair gives back, and I know it is a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
And so what's your purpose? What's your cause? And what do you give to, and how do you support the community?
Well, our logo has youth, agriculture, and community on it. So we're not necessarily just strapped to youth and agriculture, but it's still our primary focus. And we do scholarships. We donate the use of the facility to 4-H FFA groups or really any other group that proves a need and we feel like it's going to benefit the community. And then we support purchasing a lot of youth fair projects and the Grand Champion Steer Syndicate and even other some of our local school districts will reach out from time to time. We'll help with programs there. But us combined with the youth fair in the spring,
right,
with Denton County Livestock Association, Blue Ribbon Club, all three combined is about $1 million a year back in the community.
Wow.
So we're pretty proud of that.
And is that county focused, or what kind of geographic?
The youth fair is county focused.
Yeah.
The North Texas Fair and Rodeo is more of a regional focus.
Regional.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it extends beyond just the county limits. Yeah.
I think it's county first, and then if we need to reach out, like, if you don't have an applicant for a certain scholarship that can't be found in the county, then we'll reach out to the bordering counties. I know last year we gave the Walt Garrison scholarship to a kid, I think, from Erath County.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be a rodeo athlete to get that one. So wasn't very many rodeo athletes that applied.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering is, obviously the demographics of the county are changing, and there's a lot more growth out in our rural parts of the county.
Yeah.
And so are you seeing that shift happening in real time?
We are, but I also see a lot of kids, even in the Denton district that have projects that are keeping them at the school barns.
They want to get involved. They
They
still want to be a part
involved
of
in that agriculture, and I think the fair and the youth fair, can keep that agricultural message alive just by the number one, the shows, the exhibition
Mm-hmm.
of the animals, and then number two, the education of all of it. So I think it's important because our future in agriculture is we got to feed more people with less land.
Yeah.
Is where we're headed.
Yeah.
And that's what we got. That's what our kids are going to. That's the challenge the next generation's got.
Mm-hmm.
So.
For sure. Well, and it has the whole event has a big impact, obviously in the community, and I guess economic development or drivers is what I kind of want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about. What do you have some numbers, some metrics about kind of the economic
We did.
impact?
We had a study done in 2008, and then we had another study done in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
The last study was done by UNT's Business College.
Mm-hmm.
They did the last one through PDI, and the economic impact on the city of Denton, $12 million.
Wow.
Economic impact on Denton County, $22 million.
Wow.
Now that's, they got different formulas. That's total spending.
Sure.
That's employment of our employees. That's the money that the fair generates, that the fairground generates through other event rentals.
Right.
Everybody that buys gas, eats at a restaurant, stays in a hotel. The total package was the $22 million on Denton County.
Well,
so.
it really moves the needle. It's a big deal. Yeah. But I mean, the largest kind of single event of the year in this community, right?
Yeah. And we are a qualifier. Our PRCA rodeo is you got to come through our rodeo if you want to qualify for Fort Worth. So I've got one side of me says, well, that's going to cost me more in stock. I got to rent the roping calves and the steers because I'm going to get a lot more contestants.
Right.
But then the Chamber of Commerce side of me says, well, you want those people coming to town, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
So we could have opted out being that qualifying rodeo, but we didn't because we want those people coming through Denton.
And you don't say Chamber of Commerce just cliche. I mean, you actually served as the president there and on the board for many years, right?
Yeah, I was the board chair in 2017.
Or board chair, not president. Yeah. Very cool. Well, so you typically line up, 30, 35 acts?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of the organizing. How far in advance you have to start trying to line that
On the
up?
bigger acts, I'm a year out.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm already considering who I'm getting ready to go after for 27.
Mm-hmm.
And probably before the fair opens or during the fair, I will probably send some offers out for 2027.
Yeah.
On the main stage. Our biggest concerns are the 2 Saturday nights, 2 Friday nights, the Thursday night, the Sundays, the big attendance days.
Right.
And so we'll get that stuff wrapped up by January, and then we'll start filling in the support stage and those other days. By April we're finished. We're done. It's all booked, and I've got a great chairman over entertainment now, Rodney Cagle. He's really in tune to the music scene and Texas Red Dirt stuff and a fan of the music, and so he's helping me book the acts now. He and I booked the main stage together with Gary Ozier out of Dallas. He's our booking agent that we use. Gary books Windstar, he books Billy Bob's.
Okay.
And so it's kind of sometimes if you need to swap dates or share artist or whatever, Gary makes that happen. Mm-hmm. And then Rodney's he's the one that tips the needle. He'll call me and say, what do you think of this one? And I like that one better than that one. And I do the same thing with him.
Right.
And so I value his opinion greatly.
Yeah.
And his help.
Yeah. Well, and you want to balance out those big names with kind of some of those young Cody Johnson types,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
rising stars or those that may be.
We've
big
always
names.
said we catch them on the way up and catch them on the way down. And those that don't know, the music industry, the best you can be is if you're an arena act, if you can sell out, Globe Life like Cody did.
Right.
Good job, Cody.
Yeah.
Sell out Globe Life or Jerry World. Those, that you're at the peak of your industry if you can do that. But not everybody ever gets there. But we let them get there, and then if they ever come back down, we're ready to grab them again.
Well, so maybe like a Diamond Rio, for
It's
example.
like a perfect example.
Yeah,
Diamond
who's on the docket for this year, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So what? Yeah, I mean, you've got lots of good names this year. What are you most excited about this year?
Well, right now our opening act is Braxton Keith.
Yeah.
New Red Dirt Texas artist, and he's outselling everybody. He's over half of our advanced sales right now.
Is that right?
I think it's going to be a pretty big show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, really excited about it. So tell us more about what's in store this year. What can we expect? We got it August 21st through the 30th. Is that right?
August 21st through the 30th. During the week, we open at 5:30. Weekends, we open at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's a little bit different is our currency. In the past, you would have to load money onto a Magic Money card. It was
Right.
a current, and then you'd spend that, and your credits would come off of that card at the fair. That's still available if you want to do that. But if you don't want to do that, we're also accepting credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
So both types. No cash on the grounds, but Magic Money or major credit card. So it make it a lot easier.
A little easier to get around there. Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things. Got some great attractions hired. We've got a co-serve sponsored for us, the Birdman of Las Vegas. He brings in a lot of raptors and rare birds and does a show and some parrots and stuff.
Okay.
It's a great show. We've got Toyota sponsored Swifty Swine. It's the swimming pig and the pig races. We got that, and then we've got a dinosaur takeover, which is a great show and exhibit for kids that love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure it comes as some surprise that there's still some people who've never been to the fair and rodeo, right? And,
yeah.
I mean, so what do you say? Give us a shot, right?
Oh yeah. And I still run to people all the time that I've been in Denton my whole life. I didn't know you were there. I'm like, well,
how do you not
we're spending a lot of money on advertising. How am I not reaching you?
Yeah. But you've got, I'm sure, a broader reach than just our local community. But yeah, it's really interesting that there's people that are just right here that have never been.
Yeah. So. We buy a lot of DFW TV, radio. Right. Dallas-Fort Worth media it's not cheap because it reaches a lot of people. So yeah, we do expand out. We do some billboards, and then of course social media and internet stuff is just a whole new world.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me the name of your longtime radio or rodeo announcer out there.
Terry Starnes.
Terry Starnes. Okay, he does a great job, and his prayers at the beginning of each rodeo. I mean, they're just fantastic. I mean, it's just poetic.
He does a great job, and
then your clown.
The clown is Johnny Dudley. We had Rudy Burns for many years.
Okay, that's who I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Rudy is from Mississippi and got to the age where he didn't want to travel much, so he just does a few rodeos right around home now. And so we've got Backflip Johnny Dudley now. Okay. And Johnny's done a great job. Yeah. And Johnny will be the first to tell you that Rudy was tough shoes to fill, but he's done a good job and filled them well.
Yeah. Well, that's always fun. The rodeos are fun, and everything you got going on out there. People need to. If you've never given it a shot, give it a shot. It can be hot. There's times where it can be really hot, but it's fun nonetheless, right? So, just get tickets on the website, or I mean, lots of options.
Yeah, you can buy your advance ticket on the website, which is if there's a line at our kiosk at the gates, you walk right past those lines. They'll scan you and you're in.
Yeah.
Or you can use one of the kiosks at the gate. You'll just punch in 2 adults, whatever your party is, 2 adults, 1 kid, and a QR code will print out for you. And then they scan that, and you're in. Cool. And then you can actually reload that QR code if you wish with Magic Money, or you can use your credit card.
Okay. Well, there we go. We got all that out of the way.
I think buying advance online is probably the slickest way. That way, if you get there at 7 o'clock on a Saturday, you're not going to have to wait in line. You'll walk right in.
Yeah. There you go. There's a pro tip for you.
Yeah.
Well, want to talk kind of in closing up, really towards the future. Obviously, like you say, a couple years away from a big 100-year anniversary, which will be, I'm sure, a big event. But really want to talk about the land that you now own north of town and kind of what's planned, not just with the association, but what the county's planning out there. What can you tell us about that?
Well, thanks to your family, we were able to purchase that land in 2014. I believe we bought that from your family. The original 109 acres. And then since then, Denton County has purchased about 600 acres all around it.
Wow.
For the new Expo Center.
Okay, I didn't realize they had acquired that much around it.
Yeah, about 600. Totally, we're pushing in 800 acres right now. So we're in the final modes of land acquisition and getting ready to start some land use planning studies pretty soon on that. In 23, we did get legislation passed at the state legislature that allows Denton County to collect a 2% hotel motel tax countywide to fund the new Expo Center.
Wow.
So that tax has been collected since then. So
throughout the county.
Throughout the county. So that nest egg's building up.
Yeah.
And so those things have happened, and so it's exciting. I know people say I've been hearing it for, I've been hearing that for 10 years. I've been hearing that for people. Well,
it takes time.
Trust me, I've been working on it for 30 years. So yeah, your 10 years is not anything.
It's nothing.
But it's happening.
Yeah. What's the, Expo, when you say Expo Center, it's a lot of what you've got now, just on a grander scale, and then kind of the Expo Center, like what's the big vision out there?
The first concept design that we drew was, actually Denton County provided a grant to the Fair Association to go get to design what we wanted for the fair. And so what we had was 3 buildings, all climate controlled in excess of 100,000 square feet.
Wow.
One of them was an 8,000-seat arena. That would house our rodeo as well as other events. And
that'd be a game changer.
Yeah, basically those 2 buildings were just multi-purpose. You could do home and garden shows, RV shows, trade shows, or even use sports in there. Basketball, put courts in and out, just a multi-purpose. And so that was what the fair wanted. And now, eventually, when we get down to it, I think it'll be a hybrid of that and what the county needs and what studies have been done to show what's needed to best serve our community. Wow. And so I think that hybrid, I can't wait to see it. I'm excited to see it.
Love to fast forward and just be in there, right?
Yeah, sure would.
But it takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, and to get that done right, and saving up some dollars, it sounds like as well. So, well, excited to hear about that, and I believe it's going to happen, right? It's just a matter of time.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Keep the faith.
Know that there's a lot of good people behind the scenes pushing and working to make it happen. So. We'll encourage you to keep doing it. Well, we talked about how people get involved. Just beyond that, let's just get a big turnout for you, right?
That's right.
Yeah, all those shows and rodeos and so much good stuff. And well, I want to kind of wrapping up. What do you got a favorite restaurant, place you like to go here in town? That you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Frilly's. It's right around the corner from the fairgrounds. It's a great little restaurant.
That Cajun combo is
the
way
right.
to go right there. That blackened catfish, that touffee. Yeah. That's really good. Frilly's is great. Yeah. Okay. Well, you also for jumping on, I'm sure you got lots of. You don't probably wear ball caps as much as you do cowboy hats, but you get to pick a hat from
well, thank you. I'll take the home of happiness. Perfect right there.
There you go. Well, Glenn, thank you again so much for joining us and for just the great work you do out there. It is really an event and just something the whole community can be proud of. That you put on out there. And again, for local folks, we probably just a little spoiled that it's just right there, down the street in our backyard. No big deal, but it is a big deal.
So, well, thanks for having me. Yeah, and I really appreciate it. And y'all come out.
There you go. Well, if somehow you didn't know Glenn Carlton before today, now you do. Thanks for joining us.